Howdy folks, today we're going to talk about how to use these two to get on target. Specifically, we're going to talk about zeroing a scope from scratch as opposed to changing ammo or starting fresh with a slightly different setup. We're assuming you may be bore sighted, or maybe it's just basic mechanical alignment and you were trying to get it on target with the minimal number of shots, because we're continuing the theme of save ammo, right? So first, notice how big my target is, and notice the fact that it's a grid. Now each of these squares, not the little squares but the thicker squares, are 1 inch. The smaller squares obviously are 1/2 inch. That is important. It's also laid out to make it very easy for you to center crosshairs, because you can put them either inside the larger groups of squares, in here, in a particular square here. You've got a lot of things to use to reference to make sure you're aiming at the exact same spot. So, first, we have a scope. Now obviously I don't have it on a rifle. We're not doing this at the range. Actually doing this is just not physically difficult, and actually doing it while I'm shooting is kind of silly. With a quality scope, and even then there's duds, you can make a change and know that it moved that much. It's very consistent. That is really key to making this an easy thing to do. If you've got a cheap, junky scope, this can be frustrating. So we're going to do this as a hypothetical. And first, you need to know which direction things turn, which they'll usually say on top or on the side. I'll give you close-ups of this later, but this one, you turn it counterclockwise to go up. That's not your crosshairs moving up, that's your impact on target moving upward. Each click is 1/10 of a 0.1 mil rad. So in this case, it is 3.6 inches per mil at 100 yards, or 100 meters really. So I'm talking 0.36 of an inch per click at 100 yards. Again, key information to know. If you've got an MOA scope, maybe it's 1/8, maybe it's 1/4, maybe it's 1/2 minute of angle per click. You need to know that. You also need to look on this side to go right, and again, that's to move the impact point to the right, counterclockwise. Write that down. It is very easy to reverse those. It sounds silly, but when you're actually at the range doing it, pretty much all of us have done it. If you have zeroed a bunch of scopes, if you have made changes, you've gone the wrong way at some point and been going, oh crap, I moved 8 clicks to the right, I meant to go 8 clicks to the left, so now I need to go 16 clicks. Just write it down if it's not clearly visible on your scope. Sometimes it's on the caps, sometimes it's underneath, sometimes it's on the side, sometimes it's on the top. Just find that information. So mine are 1/10 of a mil. That is pretty standard for mils. Most of them do 1/10. MOA scopes usually see either 1/4 or 1/2. A lot of lower power scopes just stick with 1/2 because they assume you're not far enough out that in-between distance matters. I apologize, I got like some dust in my eye or something. Okay. But mils, it's 0.36 at 100 yards or 100 meters. I'll just stop correcting myself at 100 yards. It's not exact, but whatever. The other thing to keep in mind is you need to be able to see this grid. Otherwise, you're gonna be walking back and forth a lot. So if your scope isn't powerful enough to see your bullet holes clearly on this paper at the distance you're shooting, get a spotting scope. Bring a more powerful rifle, a rifle with a 20 power scope or something. I very often use my larger 6.5 to 20 to spot holes. So we're gonna pretend we just put this on there. I'm gonna do my first shot at 50. Not gonna go all the way out to 100. And we're gonna pretend that we aimed right here in the middle, okay? Dead center. We had the crosshairs lined up. No wind, using the bench, nice good shot. It felt good. Your crosshairs didn't, do anything weird as you pulled the trigger. You made a good shot. If you didn't make a good shot, ignore that hole, start over. And we're gonna pretend it hit. Right there, okay? Okay, so we're here, and we wanna be here at 50 yards. So that's 3 inches to the left and 3 inches down. Now, we're at 50 yards, so effectively double it, which means I wanna come, it'll be 8 clicks each way, roughly, but now it's 16. So I'm gonna go 16 clicks clockwise to go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Notice that I'm at a new digit because that would be 1 full mil rad. And I can skip all the way to there and then go back 4. Okay. Or I could have just gone to 15 and plus 1, but my brain wasn't thinking that fast. Now I need to come left the same amount. Okay. My second shot, we'll say it was right there, if I remember correctly. Now at that point, I'm going to move to 100 yards. Okay? So at 100 yards, I'm now here. So I verified my shot, went to 100 yards, it was there. Close enough. But now I need to move, call it half an inch, and then down an inch. So, 1, oops, that was up. Notice how easy it is to screw up. 1, because 0.36 at 100 yards for mine. So, I need to come down, we'll call it 3, because I'm gonna be a little low for these. So I'm now over an inch down. And to the right, we'll call it 1 click. Because 0.36, I don't want to be, we'll call it 2. We'll call it 2, because I'm a little over half an inch. That gives us that group, roughly. Because again, you've got margin of error on your shooting, you've got margin of error on the scope, you've got different wind conditions, you've got that maybe it's not exactly 100 yards. And maybe you weren't exactly at 50. Maybe this wasn't a perfect shot. Maybe that wasn't a perfect shot. Maybe that wasn't a perfect shot. There's all these little things that are stacking up. But at that point, that's it. You just zeroed for 100 yards on, in this case, a milrad scope. But that gets you on target. From there, you can fine tune. Maybe you take a 5-shot group and it's plus or minus a click in some direction or another. But that would be good enough for most purposes. As you open the range up, you're going to verify that, hey, maybe it was a little off this way or that way, and you're going to start building your dope book for distance. But that's a more advanced topic. We'll get into that another time. So take care, have fun, stay safe, y'all. Say hi. Oof.